Welcome to Retro Depot. My name is Doug. Today we're going to be taking a look at the SNES-2-GP adapter. You may have seen it unboxed on LGR. Clint is actually taking a look at it for me and seeing how it plays out and how it works with his equipment. I don't think he'll be doing a review because I asked him, just for, telling me how he thought it worked out for him. So I'm not really looking forward to any type of standalone video by Clint, but I wanted to do a video to kind of show you what the SNES-2-GP is and what purpose it serves. Now this is a enclosure that I 3D printed for the SNES, and you can see on one side it has the SNES controller port. The other side it has a male DB15 port, and then just a single button on the top. Now the reason for its simplicity is this: it's simply taking the digital values of the directional pad for the Super Nintendo controller and converting that into analog values that can be read by the computer through the game port. It uses a very interesting way of handling those. What it does is it actually reads the amount of current rather than the voltage. And by doing that, it determines essentially where in the X or Y axis it is, because it builds up a charge pump that oscillates a 558 timer, and this creates a signal that the computer can read, and depending upon its frequency it can tell approximately where that joystick is at. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at it. I'm going to get this thing connected with the controller and hooked up to the PC, and we'll be back. Okay, now we have the SNES-2-GP hooked up to the computer, and we have a Super Nintendo controller hooked up to it, as you can see right here. We're going to go into the game controller settings, and we're going to take a look at the adapter itself. So whenever you open this up, as you can see, you may not be able to. I had to adjust the brightness of my CRT so that hopefully you can see what's going on. But when I bring it up, it does have the Thrustmaster Flight Control System as the joystick, and that is because I designed this as basically a Thrustmaster clone for the driver purposes. If we go to the properties of that, we can see, up changes, left, right. We've got button 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we can also change our hat, from up, down, left, right, whatever. If we go over to settings, we can calibrate it just like we would normally do. So we'll leave it centered, and then we'll make a couple passes with it to just kind of show its range. Hit another button, center it, and then with the controls on this, it's a little bit different. It's pretty neat, but because we have 4 buttons, the left and right and the start select, that's the reason for the hat. And of course they would be in the position that you would think they would be in. Left is left, right is right. Select is actually going to be up, and start is down if I'm not mistaken. And of course when we get back in here we can test it out. Works just fine, and no problems with it at all. So you calibrate it just like you would with a regular Thrustmaster's joystick, but it does have another setting. So if we press the button right here, we can actually remove the Thrustmaster, and we can add in a 4-axis mode. Now with the 4-axis mode, it's a little bit interesting. Now those that what would normally be the hat buttons are controlling the 3rd and 4th axis, which they're used in flight simulators quite a bit for rudder and stick and things like that. So if we take a look at that, we've got our axis that we have just like so. Of course we have our buttons that work, and then we have our axis 3 and axis 4. So if I press left, you can see it, axis 4 goes all the way to the top, and if I press it low, it goes all the way to the bottom. And the same thing with axis 3, if I press start, it goes all the way to the bottom. If I press select, it goes all the way to the top. So it is, in fact, a true 4-axis controller in this mode, which is handy for playing flight games and maybe racing games and things of that nature. So it really does take a Super Nintendo controller and it converts it into 2 different joystick modes for the purposes of playing any type of early PC game with a good controller. And it can be a knockoff SNES controller similar to what I have here, or it can be an original. It doesn't matter. It works the same in either case. Okay, so let's fire up a couple games and let's take a look. Okay, so we're going to try out Wolfenstein 3D. I've got my Super Nintendo controller here. It is hooked up through the cable here to the SNES to GP. We've got our screen set up here. Shows that the joystick is in fact connected, and we're just going to press a button. And as you can see, it works. So we're going to go in here to control. Now I want you to notice that the joystick is enabled. I've got the mouse disabled, and the joystick 2 port is disabled, as well as a gamepad. So the only thing that's working right now is the keyboard and the joystick. Okay? So actually, let's go back. Okay. So we're going to go up to a new game. We're going to start it. And as you can see right here, no problem at all. Front, back. And it works great. No problems whatsoever. I'm not sure how well you can see this with the resolution of the CRT, but I had to turn the brightness down quite a bit. But yeah, works great. Alright, so that's Wolfenstein 3D. Okay, so now we have Alien Breed. As you can see, we can change our option. Okay, had to remember how to work this, but yeah. So yeah, works just fine. So, no problem with that Alien Breed either. I mean, controller works. So, now we're going to talk about the problems. Okay, so the problems. Not really a problem. But Duke Nukem's, the early games 1, 2, and 3, they don't work so great with this. The problem that you have, I think, is actually with the software itself. I've never actually played Duke Nukem with a joystick in the past, or even gamepad, but for whatever reason it just doesn't recognize this. So if we go into the game setup, we can set up the joystick mode, and it says hold joystick in the upper left. So if we hold it in the upper left and press a button, and then hold it in the bottom right and press a button, and then we can choose whether button 1 shoots or jumps. Let's do shoot. We can start a game. You see it works, but as you can tell, it always pulls to the right. I've never been able to get it to work, so everything else about it works. It jumps, it shoots. You can press up, press down, but it's always going to pull to the right. I've just never been able to figure it out. So I think it's actually a problem with Duke Nukem, not so much this, because this works with pretty much everything else. So that was the SNES-2-GP adapter. This is the actual PCB right here. It's pretty small. You think about it, it actually fits in the palm of your hand. It has the SNES controller port as well as the 15-pin D-sub connector on it and a switch. Everything is handled by the microcontroller. It reads the data from the SNES controller, uses all these SMD components up here to essentially do the analog conversion, and then sends that data out to the PC where it's read as though it's a normal joystick. I am selling these on the website. I have 3 different versions up there, but realistically I'm not going to be selling the one with the 3D printed case anymore. The reason for that being is because it's just too time consuming to print. My 3D printer is currently broken. If you have a failed print, you have to start all over, and a couple hours of your time is wasted. It's just not economical for me to do that. I'm taking a loss at trying to provide those. So I am still offering the PCB as well as the design files. So you can buy the board from me and have it printed yourself if you'd like. The 2 versions of the board I'm offering, one is the Thrustmaster and 4-axis, and the other one is the Thrustmaster only. Now the reason for that being is because there's a couple of the boards that use slightly different resistor values and things like that, so they don't play so well with the 4-axis mode. So I've just disabled that, and it's going to be a Thrustmaster only version. Now the difference between the two is $15 currently on sale for the Thrustmaster only, but it's normally $20 regular price. Currently I have the 2-mode version on there for $20, but it's normally $25. So I don't know how long I'm going to keep it at those sale prices. It's mostly just to get people interested in it. But for now, I'm going to leave it there as it is. I'm not really advertising this anywhere else. You may have, like I said earlier, seen LGR where they did the unboxing, and he mentions it on there. It's the second item he unboxes in that video. And I don't expect him to be doing a review. I sent that to Clint just for the purposes of trying it out and seeing what he thinks about it, and then sending me some feedback. I hope to be getting that back from him pretty quickly. He did just shoot that video the other day, and he's a very busy guy, so I don't expect to get anything from him for a while, but I am expecting something from him. And I've had several other people, several people in Europe and several people here in the US that have bought these, and they seem to like them. Now as far as availability goes, it's going to be as I can build these. I do work full-time at my day job, and with these it's very time consuming to build them. I mean, these are small SMD parts, and I build maybe a couple a week at most. I put them on the website, they're available for sale, and then at that point, I'll build some more. But realistically, it's not a full-time gig for me. This doesn't really even pay the bills. I do this out of love for the hobby, and I'm not really making a ton of money on these once you take into consideration the amount of money I have in parts, as well as the overhead of stocking all of those, as well as the time that it takes to actually build it. It just takes time, and unfortunately in this hobby, if you count your time, you're at a loss, and that's essentially where I am at. I may make a couple bucks here and there, but for the most part this channel doesn't generate any money. It's just something I do for fun. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to leave a comment below. You're always welcome to contact me through the website, and then obviously if you like this type of product and you want to see more stuff like this, I'll be happy to show you some of the other things that I do, but you'll have to subscribe in order to actually see that. You know, currently I think I have about 650 subscribers, which it's really taken off over the last year. It's gone from like maybe 100 up to 650. So there's a lot of people that are interested in, I guess, these videos that I do. But whatever it is that you like, just let me know. I'm going to try to do more videos this coming year. I had to kind of take a hiatus, which is another interesting reason why I don't understand why I had the jump in subscribers. I guess it was a couple videos I did that people just really liked. So let me know what those are. I'm going to be happy to shoot more. I've got some more programmable logic stuff coming in the future. I just uploaded a new registered logic tutorial last week, and I'm going to do some more of that here in the near future. I want to do more with the programmable logic and potentially some FPGAs in the future, but I'm only going to do it if the interest is there. Those videos are kind of hit or miss. There's no point in, you know, spending 6 to 8 hours working on a video, whether it be shooting or editing, just to turn around and only have 5 people watch it. So it's kind of a waste of time. But whatever the case, check out the website. Like I said, subscribe. Can't even talk today. Subscribe, and let me know what other types of you know, videos you want me to shoot. Be happy to do them. And let me know what you think about the retro play. That's something I've been trying out. I'd like to play video games. I just don't get a chance to do it that often. I said to myself, well, I'm just going to record it and, you know, have a little bit of commentary in there, throw it up on there just for people to watch. All right. So thanks for watching. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.